show them quite soon. You can get that feedback and then begin to tailor. Because if you wait too long to get to the prototype stage, then that's probably not as good as just getting something rough out there, getting feedback, and then tailoring it as you go along. I think I kind of wanted to say as soon as possible, but then you can keep iterating, and it gives you more time to iterate. Yeah. Any more questions? Well, thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Priya. That was amazing. All right, and next up we have Ant. So Ant's presenting off his laptop, so just give us a second just to swap over.
Oh no, I'm not. Someone knows it. Sorry.
One thing I can guarantee about this presentation is it's not going to be as useful as Priya's. I apologise in advance, but you probably knew that was coming. Thank you very much for having me. Yeah, my presentation is indeed entitled WTF, How Did I Win 2 Vizies? I'm not sure it answers that question, but it's basically my Tableau journey and what I've done to perhaps deserve them, let's say that. So a bit about me. My name's Ant. I'm a Tableau public ambassador as of last year. I'm a visualization developer at Lloyd's Banking Group. I've been there for about 4 years. There's my boss, he's taking a picture of me, thank you. I've been using Tableau for about 7 years professionally, but I've been using it on Tableau Public for about 3. I've got a few visitor days. I have 2 vizies as of a couple of weeks ago. There's one. Very good. And as I said, I'm a Tableau Public ambassador for the first time as of September. Place called Letchworth, with my wife, a 6-year-old and a 7-month-old, so quite new. There they are. Correct response. That's from Saturday. Saturday, so quite an up-to-date picture. My daughter had her baptism, so a rare chance to have the 4 of us in one picture. And as well as visiting, other hobbies, I play saxophone. I also viz occasionally about that, and also I do taekwondo all over so at the moment. So I'm just going to give you a very brief history of where I've been in my career. I'm not specifically going to talk about my career, it's more about Tableau Public, but just to give you an idea of where I've come from. The numbers are a little bit scary, make you realise how old I am. But I studied maths at the University of Southampton in the year 2000. I got my first job in 2003 at a company called Kinetic, a big sort of defence contractor, as an operational analysis consultant, level 3. 2007, moved to a company called EMS, Engineering and Maintenance Services, who were actually part of Tesco. They ran their sort of maintenance division as an analyst in engineering bit, looking at fixing fridges and things. 2008, moved on to the consulting in sort of public sector. 2012, I moved to Tesco, and that's where things started to change a bit in terms of my career trajectory. Up to that point, I was very much Excel reporting and VBA. Tesco moved a lot more into SQL. I learned a lot more about SQL. Still a lot of Excel and VBA initially, but Tableau started to appear while I was at Tesco, so it came a couple of years in, got to play around with it, moved teams to a place where we had a much bigger Tableau instance, and I was able to sort of start developing. And I did actually manage to find a random screenshot of a Tableau viz I did. Don't have it at me for red and green. But this is essentially what they call a planogram at Tesco. So this is a shelf. This is what you might see in a shop. And the idea was you could overlay sort of KPIs on top of it, see how well they're selling, to see what their availability is like. Just an example of me hacking away before I really knew anything, finding out I had XY coordinates using polygons, so it was good fun to do. And then playing with Tableau for a few years at Tesco, I realised I wanted to do that more, so I was a bit more of a general analyst at Tesco. So I looked for a job specifically in visualization, so that's where I came to Lloyd's 4 years ago. So onto Tableau Public. So I've done a small slide on Tableau Public pre-Data Lab. So when I first started using Tableau Public, it was just before I moved to Lloyd's to do training, a bit of upskilling, that kind of thing. The first viz I did was traditional for me, completely non-viz-like. It was music related, and it was a music theory thing called the circle of fifths. It was basically a way to to look at key signatures for music, etc. And this was pre-parameter actions, pre-anything useful, so it's very happy, lots of filter actions and things like that. And this was one of my first visits. Obviously, I couldn't take that to Lloyd's interview, so we had to do some more traditional things, just looking at a data set up and down on Google Play apps, and also Lloyd sent me a data set, more red and green, I'm really sorry, but Lloyd sent me a data set to prepare, and I actually used Tableau story points, which I'm not sure I've used since, but I used it in my interview, and it obviously worked. So that's sort of Tableau Public up to a point I was at Tesco, then I sort of, Lloyd's. And then I sort of stopped using it for a bit, so I got into my job. Then obviously the pandemic came along. And then I'd seen a few people, two of them in the room, people who were using Tableau Public a lot at Lloyd's. So Mark Reed over there, so he joined Lloyd's while I was there. CJ, who's over here, and Amar, who might be online. Hopefully he's online. So these guys were doing loads of stuff on Tableau Public at the time, loads of Maker Mondays. They were really trying to get people involved with the community. Took me a while, but I gradually got there, and it was until sort of August 2020. I did take that plunge and put my first tweet up, which was slightly scary. This is it. It's blue. It was a Makeover Monday. It was a something about digital in Scotland. You probably remember it if you did it. Not that particular bit, but the actual Makeover Monday. I spelled dendrogram wrong. I mean, it's not good. But I got a really good reception from it. It was a really warm welcome. So you can see the number of likes at the bottom. This is somebody who's just joined Twitter and didn't have many followers. So I was kind of really pleased, what a warm welcome I got. I mean, that probably wouldn't have happened if Mark hadn't actually retweeted it. so I've got to call out thank you to Mark there, because I don't think anyone would have even seen it otherwise, but thank you very much, that was very kind. I didn't even tell him to, he didn't even know I was doing it, so that's very kind. But also I was reading through the comments and I was putting this together, and I found a couple on there from very familiar people. So look at that, welcome me from day one, isn't that very fun? I also found a comment from a lady called Charlotte Nichols, who's not here, who says she's going to follow me for my name alone. So I work with Charlotte, but she quite liked my tag, consultant, which I quite like as well. I find it quite amusing. Hope you do too. So, really warm welcome. Unfortunately, the second tweet, not so warm. It wasn't a very good bit, let's face it. But I did learn how to screen capture GIFs. And if you know my profile, you follow me, you work with me, then you know I love a GIF. This is a GIF of a GIF, so it's like GIFception, so it's great fun. So not the best second tweet, but it's not about that. It's about putting stuff out there and enjoying what you do. So started off like many people do, Makeover Monday, just going through the data sets, trying different things, trying some things that work, some things are bad, some things are good. Just trying lots of different things, sort of enjoying what other people are doing in the community as well while watching it. And then started branching out a bit, trying the other initiatives. So you get the Makeover Monday ones you can do. There's so many good initiatives out there, so I'll just put up a few examples. The one on the left, I attempted some hand drawing. That's my leg, which I hand drew, doing Taekwondo. I've not drawn anything else since. But that was a Project Health Viz, the second one in Sports Viz Sunday, Iron Quest collaboration, Quest. And we got diversity and data sort of came around while I was sort of doing all this stuff, so I jumped on quite early with the diversity and data sort of challenges. And then the one on the right is actually, I think, a combination of all three put together. So really enjoyed doing all that. And then, I put blog time down. So I started doing a blog quite early on, and it was, again, I'm going to call out Mark here, he put the idea in my head before I even started posting on Tableau Public. So I'd done a few blogs internally, just on how-tos. I don't remember Hive. They don't exist anymore, it's on our old system called Hive, but I did a few blogs of how-tos. And Mark said, why don't you do this, outside? And I was sort of like, no, everyone knows it, everyone's done it before, I won't do that. But it stuck in my head, and I thought, actually, I'll give this a go. So sort of around October, I actually released a couple of blogs. The first one was called Why Blog, and I sort of talked about what was my process behind doing it. I talked a bit about imposter syndrome and how everyone feels it at some point. Why should I bother writing a blog? What are people going to learn from it? But I did that. I think I referenced Sarah's blog in that blog. Sarah commented on my blog. She's very good at commenting on people's first. Very good. So I wrote a blog about that. I wrote a blog about my first Makeover Monday. Then I stole a blog I did at work just to fill out my blogs. So I did a blog on sort of something, I can't remember. And then I started blogging about interesting vizzes, or at least vizzes I found interesting that I did, that I thought I'd just talk through. So that's where my blogs have sort of gone from then on. They're a bit intermittent. I don't have a hard and fast rule. I'm going to do them every month. They sort of happen when I've got something I think is interesting. People might not think it's interesting. Someone will somewhere find it interesting. So I've got about 24 on there now if you want to have a look at any point. next thing I put down is finding a niche. So I've been trying lots of different stuff in Tableau Public, using all the initiatives. Found, you know, trying to improve my design, trying to improve this, that, and the other. And then there was one makeover Monday I did, which I just thoroughly enjoyed doing. I just did it in an evening. It was a very long evening. Some of you may remember it. It's this one. It's a Nintendo Switch makeover Monday, and I had an absolute ball building. It was the first time I used Figma as a background image, and I just went to town on parameter actions. I wanted every button to do something. I just wanted to have loads of fun with it, and I did. Too much fun. I was very tired the next day. But then, you know, this is exactly the kind of thing I enjoy doing. And again, if you follow me, you probably see a lot of random stuff like this. So I continued doing things like that. Another makeover Monday about Bob Ross, which I just ignored the data set completely and just instead made a little canvas where you just paint your own thing. So it was a makeover Monday, but it sort of wasn't really. And then just trying different things. Animation came in, started playing around a bit with what you can do with animation. And then, again, embedding things, using some animation, trying some different design styles. They didn't work, some of them a bit fun, some of them a bit silly, but it was just fun sort of exploring all that stuff. And then, March the 10th, 2021. Anyone know what March the 10th is? Mario Day. Mario Day. So March 10th, 2020, Amar Singh, hi Amar, posted this on Tableau Public. So this was his Happy Mario Day Tableau Public bits, which was very cool. It was just using page animations in Tableau Public. And very early in 2021, he challenged me to do something this time. He gave me plenty of notice, thankfully. But he said, why don't you do something for, he'd seen me doing stuff on Makeover Monday, etc. He said, do a Mario Day. I thought about it for a long time and spent a very long time doing it and ended up with this, which went down very well in the community. So this is my Mario Day slide puzzle, which basically used every sort of trick I'd learned up to date to build a slide puzzle. It was reasonably smooth, had lots of animation. It was very gamified. I got lots of people trying to beat people's scores. No one managed to get the quickest score they possibly could. And it also was very passive aggressive. It gives you little messages that you get to every like 10 things. Are you sure you don't want to help? You sure you don't want me to complete it? So it was good fun. And off the back of that, I did my first sort of speaking engagement, I guess I'm going to call it that. So Sagar Kapoor contacted me about BizConnect, which is a series he sort of founded about just talking about how things work in data biz. So I had half an hour to go through the whole process of how I built that thing. So I think I talked very, very quickly, and I hope it makes sense. But it's on YouTube if you want to learn how to do it, and I also got a blog on it. So that was really good for me. I really enjoyed that. I wasn't very nervous, but it was a really good sort of starting point, I suppose, for speaking. And then the next thing, I guess, that happened, I got my first visit of the day. Now this happened about a year after I started publishing, so it took a little while. Not that bitter, but about a year after, I'm not bitter at all. And it happened on a viz I did about being in the community for a year, so it was kind of quite nice. I did this Twitter viz where I looked at all my tweets over the last year, and again, it's a very me kind of viz, loads of buttons, loads of move this way, do that, do as many things as possible. Pretty inefficient design, I'll be honest, weird sort of diamond, but it kind of worked quite well, and I think people liked it. And I was looking at this again recently. What's quite interesting, I split my tweets up into what were the high performers over the year, and five sort of came out as really high performers. The interesting one is this one here, because that was my very first viz. So that first viz that Mark retweeted at the end of the year was still like one of the best tweets, I suppose, in terms of engagement, in terms of what happened. And I can assume that means one of two things. It's either it was so welcoming that the data fan was really good, everyone sort of chipped in. It's either that or the rest of my content was just rubbish. So hopefully it's the former. So the next thing I did, I just wanted to call out, was my first Iron Viz entry, because it's such a weird experience. I've never done it before. People were quite nervous about entering Iron Viz, but I thought I'd give it a crack. Everyone's doing it. You know, we're in a pandemic. Let's give it a go. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. And this is what I came up with. It was a music-related one. It was built primarily in Tableau, even the stable lines, which was using Flurledge Twins blog to get the curvy lines. The reason I called it out, just because it was such a good thing to do, is really you get such a buzz from the community doing it. I think I remember talking to CJ quite a lot over Twitter about when we're going to post them, and then I ended up jumping the gun. I think you got there right. But it was just a really good experience. And if you haven't entered Iron Viz at all at any point, just do it. I didn't get in top 10 or anything, but I enjoyed doing it. It was good fun. So I just wanted to call that out. So the theme for that Iron Viz, I believe, was Viz What You Love, which was quite easy because usually there's something you love. And on that theme, that's sort of what I ended up doing a bit more going forward, visiting what I love. And I should thank Will Sutton for his Games Night Viz thing that came around, because I started doing a lot of them and really enjoyed it. So Games Night Viz is something Will and a few others have put together, looking at computer games and board games, any kind of games. They've got a load of data sets and you can do some vizzing on them. And what I love about vizzing this kind of thing is just the sort of theme you can get behind, particularly when you're looking at, say, Mario. I mean, how can you do a viz without a green pipe if you're talking about Mario? And it's ideal for animation, it's ideal for interactivity, all the things I love doing. And it allows me to get a little bit silly. So I was playing Elden Ring. If anyone plays Elden Ring, I've been playing that for quite a long time. I wanted to try a few things out using, like, creating an animated carousel menu, but I also wanted to make it like a bit like a game, a bit like an Elden Ring game. But again, it's a bit baity. It says, yeah, attack your enemy, and then you basically die, which is what happens in the game. So I think it's quite true to life. I've got another viz of the day doing Games Night Viz. This is on my Skyrim Census Viz. Again, you can go full on with the theme with these things. So I went full on. Let's look at a game packaging. Let's see what icons I can use from the game to put in this. And I thoroughly enjoyed this one. The interesting thing about this one is if you go onto the sort of Tableau public homepage and look at their categories they've got below, this one sits under maps. Yeah. There's a reason for it. It's this map. So I'd hidden a map in the information button on the overlay, and this seemed to get the most engagement as part of this, because I was using map layers. I was trying something different, just to sort of click on areas that Skyrim map. So it may look a bit weird that it sits in the maps, but I always find that quite amusing that it sits there. So I really enjoyed that. So Games Night Viz, all that kind of stuff, really love doing. The other thing I love doing doesn't really have a category, but it looks a bit like this. The relaxing octopus also looks a bit like this. What are you looking at? Which follows your mouse around very slowly. It didn't react quite as well as I wanted in that one. Potato song, animated potato song. It's always a good one. Lightsabers that you can turn on and off individually. Who doesn't want that? And of course, Mr. Tickle. So I don't know what to categorise these as, silly, miscellaneous, something, but just doing silly things in Tableau, and that's what I like doing. Surprisingly, none of these is in today. So, first busy. Combination of all the things I've done before, I'm assuming is what led me to my first busy, which obviously I got in 2022. And there's me virtually on stage in Vegas, looking very happy. What amuses me about this picture is that no one else looks very happy. So me, everyone else is just like, what? I was very pleased with that. I didn't get the award, obviously, for a little while because I wasn't there, but Mark Reed was there, thankfully, so there's he keeps getting mentioned. I should probably give him permission. So Mark Reed brought it back for me and handed it over, so thank you for doing that, Mark. That was, I can't remember, a few weeks afterwards. So I got the first busy, super happy. I was pretty surprised. The year before, CJ and Chimney had been wiping the board with busies, and then they both became visionaries. It's like, thank goodness, from our chance. Our chance they moved on. So next stage, I became an ambassador. So that happened in September last year, I think. And there's quite a few of you here. There's quite a few of your faces. So this is the cohort of Tableau Public Ambassadors, which is what I ended up as, and I think there's 72 this year. I was really pleased with this because I'd been nominated the year before. I didn't think I was quite ready the year before, but this year I'd nominated myself as well. I felt, okay, yeah, I'll put myself forward because I feel like I'm involved a lot. I feel like I've got a bit more to give. So I did that. I don't know why I put that on there. That's my blurb, which I've already told you. So I became an ambassador in September 22. Then had a baby in October, so I went a bit quiet. So I had a few months where it got a little bit quiet. But then I started doing a bit more talking, which is nice. I'm quite a big introvert, so I'm not someone who generally volunteer for things or put myself forward for a lot of things. So I'd obviously done the BizConnect the previous year. CJ very kindly invited me to JL, I think it was about a year ago now, to talk to you about Mario pipes and all sorts of stuff. I'm sure you've used that a lot. So I was lucky to do that. And then I got invited to talk at the Fringe Festival. So Fee Gordon contacted me and said, do you want to do a similar thing there? Which I did and really enjoyed. I did the Financial Services Tug, where I talked about nothing to do with financial services and just showed them octopuses and Mr. Tickles. Went down quite well, not sure it's what they expected, but that was good fun. And I've done the Singapore Tug virtually as well. So a few things coming in which I kind of enjoy, and obviously I'm here now. I actually volunteered for this one, so that's the first. The others were sort of, would you like to do it? And I sort of put myself forward with it. So I'm kind of trying to do that a bit more now the baby's a bit older, now that, you know, all that kind of stuff. So that's what's happened. I haven't done as many visits this year, so I was a little bit surprised when this came along. Hold up, Vizzy.
We need to do another picture.
That's why you got the reminder. It was like so I was a little surprised, to be honest, to get this. A lot of people I spoke to weren't surprised, but I was a little surprised because I thought I'd done loads the year before, and I thought I'd gone a bit quiet, but maybe because I've been telling people about it more rather than doing it, maybe that's why I got to this time. But I was super pleased to get it. Unfortunately, the Vizies weren't live streamed this year, so I found out via Twitter. I can't remember who the first one to tweet me was, but I got quite a lot of tweets, including lots of people sending me pictures of them with my Vizzy.
I stole it.
Back off, it's mine. So, how am I doing? So, what next? Viz ideas. So I've got a long list in a OneNote file of ideas that just come out of my head randomly, the various ones that I just write down. I thought I'd share a few of them because I look at them and I go, I'm not quite sure what I meant for a lot of them, but it's always quite amusing. The first one's quite easy, Bluey. Anyone know what Bluey is? Yeah? The Australian blue dingo children's TV programme, which is absolutely brilliant. I think it's better for adults than it is for kids, to be honest. But I think there must be some viz in there to do something. Palindromes. Yeah? Is that going to work? Probably not, but it's on my list. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Anyone got kids? Are we there yet? I don't know, but I've just put these down, I don't know. Monty Python, what is your favourite colour? Now, there must be an animation in this one, so I think that's going to be a good one. And my personal favourite, consult and on ants. Yeah. You can see why this hasn't gone anywhere there. It's just an idea in a list. I mean, the rest of them are all that bad, so it's a very strange list. I do a few things biz-wise I'm working on. Does anyone know what that might be? It is Final Fantasy VII, very good. So I've got a viz in progress. It's been in progress for a very long time on Final Fantasy VII, but hopefully one of my favourite games. So that's why I'm doing it, and that's why it's taken so long. So hopefully that will come about at some point. So there's me and my girls. So what next? I'm actually having 3 months paternity, shared parental leave at the end of July. So I'm looking forward to that. I've been told I'll have loads of time to do visiting. Is that right? Is that how it's going to work? It's not. We'll see how that goes. But I've got 3 months off over the summer while my other daughter's off, so it's going to be a bit crazy to do that. But other than that, I'm trying to go to more events. I'm trying to go to more user groups, not necessarily talk, but just see more people. So the amount of people I've not actually met, who I know, who I've seen, like Neil, we've spoken so many times, but not met in person. So it's really good to sort of get out there and see people. Win more quizzes. For anyone who was at the last TUG, I won a quiz. And I also won a quiz at the JLL hosted Tableau conference watch thing. I technically didn't win, technically Fee won, but because she organised it, I came second and she gave me the show. And then just completely off the wall, sustainability. So I'm doing this finance sustainability course at the moment. It's something I'm doing a lot of in work. And I'm hoping to do more visiting as I learn a bit more about that, because that's something else I'm sort of very passionate about and I'm doing a lot in work. And that is me. CJ, go back a slide. Good to see you. Can we vote? Okay. So CJ has asked me, can we vote on which one I do? Ants, isn't it?
I like, oh yeah, as well.
Okay. So the next quiz I'm going to do apparently is consult. Oh, I don't know. What is it? Consult and on ants. Okay, so look out for it. Thanks, CJ. Cool. Thank you very much.
going to talk about Visify AI, the creative revolution. So I've started my journey with Tableau Public about 2 years ago, a little bit more than that. And I started sharing my visualization on Tableau Public. And something that I love doing is combining Tableau with other tools. I love Figma and just trying to see how I can incorporate those elements to my visualizations. And lately, what I've been doing is actually leveraging AI to kind of bring about the vision that I have in my head and create those visualizations. Because with AI, you can be faster. You can also customize your visualization a lot better, because if you have an idea in your head, you can try to recreate that through generative AI. And also it gives a lot of inspiration and ability to actually innovate. So raise your hand if you're enthusiastic about AI. Raise your hand if you're scared about AI. It can be scary, but I think what we have to do now is see how we can utilize it to our day-to-day work and see how we can make our lives easier. And raise your hand if you've seen a lot of resources online about AI, but you don't really know how to leverage it for your work. Raise your hand if you've been able to keep up with all the updates that are coming out. Nobody, I haven't been able to do that either. There's so much coming up. So today, I'm going to talk about generative AI, how you can actually mix it with a design tool and Tableau. So it's going to be very design focused, because I'm a very design focused person. And I'm going to share with you some of the methodology I've developed over the last 3 months. And hopefully it will get you excited about AI and how to use it. A little bit about myself. So my name is Irene. I started my journey with Tableau about 3 years ago now. And I have a Tableau public profile, so feel free to check it out. And I've been able to actually gather 100,000 views on my Tableau public, some of my work. Some of my work actually ended up in the news article, to my surprise, and also a book. I have 4 V's of the day, and as of this year, I became a Tableau visionary. Okay, so I'm going to talk about my methods. And so what I've been doing is actually going through Midjourney, using ChatGPT, Figma, and Tableau, and combine it to create the vision that I have in my head. Because when I work with visualization, I really like diving into the design, and I want to make sure that I'm able to recreate as much as possible the vision that I have in my head. And to do that, I'm leveraging AI to the best of my abilities. And we have on screen an example of a visualization that I've done. And you can see, actually, we have a nice drawing of a woman. This was not made by me, it was made by AI. And then I played a little bit with it to add some elements and also some insight to it. I'm going to explain to you how I've been able to do that. I have also another example of one of my visualizations that I created using this technique. So in the past, because I'm a very active member of the community, it used to take me maybe to do one viz like 10 hours because I'm like very design focused. But now, this visualization took me only 3 hours to do because AI is making a difference. And you can see on this viz, on the right, on the left, we have kind of this image. So this was generated by AI, the cut was generated by AI, and also the splash on the top right. So I've typically seen people using AI for inspiration. That's the way I've seen it being used traditionally. But what I want you to do is take that a step further and actually combine your generative AI images to your designs, like I've done here. So there are a lot of tools that you could use to generate images. We have Midjourney, Adobe Firefly, Bing, Canva, DALL-E. All of them have their strength. But personally, my favorite is Midjourney. That's the one that I'm most accustomed to. So today, I'm going to share some advice and tips that I've learned while using Midjourney. Again, a little bit about Midjourney. So Midjourney was created about a year ago, and it's always evolving. I think they've made, we're now at version 5.1, but a few months ago we had version 3. So it's always, it's changing really quickly as well, and it's getting more and more better at just recognizing language. So you don't have to have a specific way of writing it. You can use natural language to do so, and it's becoming better and better at understanding that. Also, if you have an account with Midjourney, you can use those images commercially. You don't have to reference Midjourney, but if you're just using a trial, you could use those images, but you have to make sure that you mention Midjourney. And I'm not an expert, so I'll advise you to also check what they say about that on the website. Okay, so I have a little demo now on how to go to Midjourney. Find it on Google. Just click on the website, and if you have an account like me, this is what you'll see. But right now, if you want to generate an image, you have to go to Discord. And once you go to Discord, you have to go to one of the newcomers room. And actually, what you could see what other people have been up to. Some actually funny content actually. So we have Drake the rapper as a blobfish, which was quite fun. And if you wanted to create your own, you can just backslash imagine and start typing. So that's how you go about to create your own images. So, okay, but if you're not like a professional prompter, you're not really accustomed to using Midjourney, what can you do? Actually, you could leverage AI to generate AI, which is quite unique. So something that you can do, you can go to ChatGPT, and what I've done here, I asked, do you know what Midjourney is? And it's kind of telling me about it. And I was like, what is the best way to write prompts in Midjourney? It gives me some guidance, enhance with style and keywords, master the art of aspect ratio, enrich your creativity with advanced settings. I was like, okay, that's good, but could you help me write some prompts? And what I've done, so on here, what you could see is you could use what I said, use the best practice, and I will give you a prompt, I'll give you a concept, and write me a prompt based on it. The concept that I have here is landscape, clouds, happiness. And so that's the prompt that Midjourney is writing for me. So we can see we have the prompt at the top, and it's already following best practice for Midjourney. So even if I don't know how to use it, I can just leverage this, and I have the explanation about what it's doing actually. So this prompt describes a cheerful landscape filled with elements that signify happiness. And we have the aspect ratio, we also have the parameters. So all those key elements that help us create the vision for our Midjourney prompt, which is quite useful. So as a starting point, if you're starting with prompting, you could actually leverage ChatGPT. There's also a new tool that just came around. If you're a paid user of ChatGPT, you could now leverage the plugins. So there's this new plugin called Photorealistic that can also generate photorealistic prompts for Midjourney, which is quite cool as well. Okay, now I'm going to talk about color palettes and how you could leverage Midjourney to get more of them. So there is also like an explore session on Midjourney. You could tap, what I've done, I just tapped color palettes, and now we can see we have a lot of nice range of quite unique color palettes that you could leverage for your visualization. And something that I really liked about them is you could also, if you know the name of the color, you could leverage that to generate your images. So you could go to colors, find the name of the specific color, and then use that in your prompts. And you could basically leverage that for your data visualization. Okay, this is not perfect. I tried it. Sometimes it's not the exact color, but at least it gives you some indication, and I'm sure in the future the technology will get better and better. Who's excited about this? Okay, something else that I've been doing is actually leveraging the images that have been created with Midjourney and turning them into SVGs to be able to play with them. So something that I've done here, you can see there is this nice image of a lion, and I had this leaf, and what I've done, I've actually generated the above image on the top right in Midjourney, and then I turned it into an SVG, and then I went back to Figma to customize it. So that means you have full control over customization. You can create an image and then change it the way that you want. I have a nice website for that. It's called Conversion, so you can turn PNG to SVGs. Not only image at best for to be able to do that. So make sure that you find an image that works well, or pictograms as well always typically work well. So I would invite you to try it out, because you could do amazing things with this. Okay, so we talked about Midjourney. The next step is actually our design tool. My favorite one is Figma, but you could use your own tool. So I'm just going to talk about this process of creating this visualization. So we talked about generative AI, Midjourney, and now what we're doing actually, now that we have made an image in Midjourney, we can use that image and combine it into our design tool to have like a prototype for our visualization, and then the next step will be to use Tableau for the last part of our visualization. So it's like a layering process where the first layer is your image from your AI. The second layer is your design tool, Figma, and the last layer is Tableau, or your visualization tool. So I'm going to show you now, this is an example of my Figma, and this was an image that I created with my friend Ari from the Information Lab. We collaborated on this, and he was quite excited when I told him about my methodology of how I was doing things, because he was actually using Midjourney, but he never thought about kind of mixing it into your design. So we're going to see how we can do that. So this was the starting point, and this was done in version 3 of Midjourney. That was a couple of months ago. And so that was the starting point. We added the PNG into Figma. And then what I've done next is actually getting rid of all the chart elements because I want to add my own actually and play around with the design. So that's what we've done here. We just added some boxes on top to be able to kind of hide the data visualization that Midjourney had. I think today there are other tools that you could use. There's now the Photoshop in beta, which you could just like remove part of it if you tried it, but you could also use Figma. It's free and easy to use. Then we have on our the next step that I did actually. So we were at that point we were on version 3 of Midjourney, and then version 4 came out. So what I did, I used our image that we have here, and I actually uploaded to Midjourney because I wanted to see if there's gonna be like a difference. Is the image gonna improve with the new version? And it actually did. It looked a lot better. And something that I love to do when I'm using Figma, when I'm prototyping, is having this iterative process where I play around with my design. So I've just been playing around with the boxes, added some shadow, and so on, up until when I was happy, and we got to this. This was the last frame that we used. And so from there, the next step will be to actually include the data visualization on top. As we said, it's like a layering process. Okay, but something else that you could do, so the first example that I showed you was me taking an image from Midjourney and then kind of getting rid of some part of it to actually add the data visualization on top. But you could also create your frame in Figma and then add some images on top of it. And this is an example of a base that I could use for my visualization. Also the title I just generated, it's quite of a cool title that I generated through Midjourney, through ChatGPT, sorry. So you could do it in different ways. You don't have to start with, you could start with your design tool first and then add another layer for Midjourney, or you could start with Midjourney and then play around with your design tool. Okay, so now let's talk about Tableau. So the way we've done it to add our chart, we have the ability in Tableau, as a lot of you might know, we can add images onto our visualization. And so what we've done here, we just kind of added the chart on top, like so. You can see we've just layered the chart on top, and if I just get rid of the image, this is how it would look like. And yeah, so you could see how you could create a visualization. Okay, so we talked about this methodology of actually creating a new way of designing your data visualization and being able to actually have more control over how your visualization look like in the point of view of design. And so leveraging AI, using a design tool, and finally adding Tableau at the end. So I have a project coming up soon. It's going to be Visify AI. It's going to be a community project because I think we can leverage this technology for our own good and to make sure that we are actually incorporating it to our day-to-day work. And it doesn't have to be design focused per se. So anytime you have a tip that you want to share, please use the hashtag Visify AI. If you're using any of the method that we talked today, feel free to use the hashtag as well. Now we have some words of wisdom. Yeah, it's supposed to help us actually. We have to use AI to actually make our life easier. And So remember to reach out to me if you want to collaborate on this. If you're interested about AI, I'm available on Twitter, LinkedIn, and also if you're using those methodology again, please make the project visible. Make sure that you tag me. Also, make sure you give me some feedback today. I'm not a professional speaker, so I'd love to hear your thoughts on how I did. And thank you, everyone.
Irene, that was great. Any questions for Irene?
How much time do you spend like tweaking your prompts and to get images that you want out of the journey? Because when I play around with it, it's sort of it's hit and miss what you get.
Typically, it doesn't take me too long. I would say, obviously, depending on what I'm trying to do, but I think it's about being able to know how to use those prompts in the best way, and I had to learn a bit more about prompt engineering. It's also evolving, but something that you could do as well. Try to leverage ChatGPT as a beginning, but also there are a lot of people that are sharing tips and tricks on how to use prompts, so I'll advise you as well to check them online.
Thank you. All right, next up we have Nirosh joining us. So Nirosh was a finalist in Iron Viz in Las Vegas last month. So I'll let you sort this over.
Good evening.
Yeah.
Well, hello everybody. It's happy to be here. I'm really being on my first Tableau conference. LondonTUG is good for about 5 years ago, being started very well. We're going to one right now, speaking in front of you guys, so it's good for that. Thank you for having me. So it says I was lucky enough to be an Irish finalist at TC this year. So I'm just here to talk about my journey, my strategy, and a bit about Vegas. So I'm working off this Menti imaging. If you want to join, my slides will be on there. It's more for you to ask questions. See it comes up, which is awesome. Just drop a question there anytime. It also means that other people look at phones and don't need to make eye contact, which is always really stressful. Just join Data.com and put the code in. Don't do that. Okay. The Minty and the code will be there for our presentation. So a bit about me. As I say, I've been working with Tableau for about 5 years. That's a picture of Pablo, right? Pablo was the person that really introduced me to Tableau. He and I were working in the same company in insurance back in the day, and I was just really bothered. I think he really helped me to be inspired by how amazing Tableau is in a nutshell. We worked together for about a year, and I moved on to my current employer. I work as the Tableau guy, quote unquote. And yes, that's really what I don't really have the accolades that many people, all the other speakers have today, which is what made me a bit tentative about entering Ironviz. I still to this day don't really feel worthy with the Ironviz workplace. I don't really have an active Tableau public profile. I don't have busies. So I was really nervous, and I didn't really feel like I deserved to make an entry, let alone be given the honour of winning, at least winning the feeder competition. But I had some support from my team. If you don't know, there's a feeder competition prior to the actual Ironviz final. The theme for this particular year was games, the work for gaming company, which is logic here. And so there's just really good push to give it a go. well. I just thought it would be a good challenge, and it definitely is. It really pushes you to do things that you wouldn't necessarily do. I don't really have time to be that creative at work. Stick to bar charts mainly, which is fun for me. I love the bar chart. So yeah, I went for it. It was stressful, but nothing like the stress I talked to you about Vegas. And rolling forward, I kind of skipped a bit about the feeder competition because I think I won't have time to cover everything else. But it was about a month to kind of do this piece of work. You can check it out on my blog. I do have a blog profile. But anyway, I was in a meeting, and when you get a pop-up that starts with this sentence, you know something is either really bad or really good. And once the meeting was over, I opened it, and it was Tabo, this specific person at Tabo, telling me that I had been chosen to be a finalist, which was, to this day, a really, really euphoric moment. It goes without saying that the payout is the wrong word. It's really a big deal to be an Irish finalist at the end of the day, and to have made that achievement come what may, regardless of the result, was overwhelming. A word I will use a lot today. And a very happy and emotional moment for me, and worth it just for this. I didn't expect to win, I really did not. But yeah, I was in shock, and from this point onwards, there's a little bit of waiting. So here's a timeline of the key things that happened. Got the result of the Irish to tell me that I was a finalist in early December. And there's a fair bit of waiting, so the way things work is you get some data. I don't know if it's a big discussion, but we don't have 20 minutes on stage and we just build things from scratch. That doesn't happen on stage. There's a little bit of time. It's about a 4-week period where we are allowed to look at some data, or a data set that is the same for all 3 finalists. We get a chance to explore that data, create a visual, have it in our minds, robot style, submit the data, submit the visualization. At this point, we can't change what we design, we just need to practice to ensure that we can get the job done on stage and attempt to play. So, just to go back, there was three good months for just thinking, and I have to say I didn't think about anything else for 6 months of my life, which was cool, but super intense. And that period of time, a lot of things go through your head, and it's very daunting. There's so many things to consider. I found it really interesting if you talk about, speaking to the client. I don't have a client. This is the first time I didn't have a client, so it was really like I don't know where to start. And this is just one of many things that go through your mind. So anyway, I had to think about some stuff. And I established some things that I felt, okay, I'm going to have to do this. The judging criteria, if you're not aware, is split into 3. Design, storytelling, and analysis. And I feel like you have to design something and you have to analyze it some way. But the key thing that would set my thinking apart would be the way that I told the story. So I was really keen to find a narrative that would be compelling, that I could really sell in some way. Obviously, I had no idea how to do that because I had no data, but I knew that this would be a really important component of my dashboard. Flow is of course super important, just to give a sense of dynamism and, again, as a way of creating that narrative. The last thing was I was fixated on dynamics and visibility. This is also a little bit of marketing tool for Tableau, I would say, and I knew this was a new feature that I wanted to explore and leverage in some way, shape, or form, and I just spent that pretty much trying to get my head around how to use it, and so these were all steps. The other things, and there are many more things that I need to think about, and I wanted to get you guys involved. So I've chosen 4 tensions that I have on a sliding scale. So this is the example. Am I going to stick to a high-level summary of the data, or am I going to really dive into the detail? And I have decided somewhere on the scale that I want to be either on the side of a high-level summary, full detail, or something like this. So I want to see what you guys think and how closely you align. So if you now do go and join the committee, wait till the number goes up a little bit more, right? It's a little 20 years, I'll give it a bit of time. So here's the thing, I didn't know the data at this point, but the pros for high-level summaries are like really just condense the data and tell the broad picture. And on the flip side, if I had full detail, then maybe I could find a really interesting animal. Those are the options. So we'll let it sit for a little bit more, and I'll show you what our position was. And a lot of you, well, let's go to what I said. I was going up, because I decided to go pretty aggregated. At least this was my thought at the beginning. I didn't feel like I would have the time and space to really dive into all of the data. I needed to find a way of condensing it and tell a simple story that people understood. There's 8,000 people in the audience, and I didn't really want to dive into something too technical because it would disengage a lot of people really understand what I was talking about, because I had 3 months more to understand all this stuff. Alright, attention number 2. This was a huge one for me. Do I go simple or do I go complicated? I have a simple style, very minimalist in my approach, but to be frank, Will and CJ, you threw me a curveball, and I felt like I needed to do something that sat alongside this in terms of skill, even though it's not really what we love. And so I thought about it hard. The simplicity for me was the process that was, it will allow me to tell a story more simply and again engage people without having to think too hard. But the complex bit is cool. So let's see if I split halfway down the middle basically. I tended towards simple, as I said, because I just felt it's my strength. I wasn't going to be able to learn how to create ads. I wasn't going to do that. I didn't have the time to learn how to really figure these things out. I still had a day job to worry about. And I felt it would help me tell my story properly. Okay, number 3. Should the dashboard be static or should it be dynamic? I think this one is a bit more simple. And just give you guys a bit of time. But yeah, static would just be a long form thing that you scroll down and just see things, which is often what I do, to be honest. Or creating that has some movement, has some dives into it. I feel like we are fairly well with that. Pretty much bang on. And lastly, is this dashboard going to be consumed once, or is it going to be consumed many times? I.e., do I need to make this dashboard accessible to people in the future, or should I really just consider telling this story once on stage and that be that? So, a lot of the time with dashboards, you have the signposts to navigate people through your story with the text you have on the dashboard. I was just thinking, do I need to necessarily do that? I'm just going to communicate this story just at one time. Or do I need to think about the future of this dashboard? I went with first, just focused on what I should do to tell the story once and tell it well. So, there are many more things, but those are the key things that formulated my big idea, storytelling with data, shout out. This is what it was, to create something that's dynamic, that summarizes the data, and convey the message in an exciting way. And I was just fixated on accessibility, and I had to do it in 20 minutes. Not to be good at it, but that was what I condensed it down to. Eventually, we got some data, and I met my supervisor, who's here in the corner, for the first time, which was really cool. and shout out to her. So I don't know what I'm going to say unless I'm okay emotional, which I'm not going to do. Yeah, so the next challenge really was around data. Again, with working and things that we do in the office, there's often a question that commands our attention to begin with. There's nothing about that. You need to find your question, you need to find what it is that you're going to tell, which again was something new for me. All I had was this data, we had a theme, and we knock yourself out, do whatever you think is right. Here's a broad sense of the data sets we were given. Tara challenged you with data that has holes, where I think the analogy we use is Swiss cheese. Yeah, gaps everywhere, but broadly speaking, we have these 4 data sets, 5 in the end. We got some geocode data towards the end because there was so little in the way of understanding where these cities were positioned, because the data was so messy, essentially. So I was just looking at these 5 data sources and just thinking how are we going to link all this stuff together? Well, there's a clear link between emissions and targets. There's links between emissions and how the city's energy mix is, what proportion of energy is coming from renewable sources versus non-renewable, for example. And in the middle of all of that really is the cleanest data set, which I wanted to focus on because it was clean, just pure statistics around the weather for 100 cities across. Let me get to that. It was just 100 cities weather data. So I was thinking broadly about how to think of all stuff and what questions can I ask? Are cities that are emitting loads also experiencing good weather which we found? Is there a correlation between the weather in a specific city and the energy mix that they have? Are cities meeting their targets? Those are interesting things. But then that's all predicated on the data being nice, which it wasn't. And so, yes, there are loads of challenges with respect to the data and to start finding a story which I felt was so important to me having a chance to do a good job. Aside from all these holes, there was a lack of data. The theme of environmental sustainability is just a synonym of global warming and climate change. Data range we had was 6 years, so I couldn't really make a statement around the climate change because the data was too narrow to make any assertion without creating more data which we were stuck to the data that were given and nothing more. And the final thing was just answering the why as I put it. Because of the lack of data, because of the holes. So for example, I found a really interesting angle about the city of Helsinki. Let's just go back. Helsinki was one of the few cities that were in all of these data sets. So I thought, okay, let me deep dive into Helsinki and try and find something interesting in it. There was something interesting in Helsinki. The energy mix has changed rapidly between 2015 and 2020. So I thought, okay, great, this is cool. What can I do with this? And aside from having that fact, there's nothing for me to explore or give the audience about why that would be the case. So it was there. There's nothing for me to do with that, which is a real shame. I was even thinking about going to Helsinki just to do some research and give myself a bit of a break, but it didn't happen. So anyway, let me show you what I've done. Okay, so this is my intended design. I'll explain why it's my intended design in a second. I'm not going to give my speech again. I'm just going to whiz through what I've done. So I wanted, as I said, this of keeping in mind that I have to do this in 20 minutes, and I didn't think about it hard enough, but it wasn't in line with my design choices. Okay, I wasn't going to make the most incredible dashboard. I really can't do that. It's just I wish I had realized that sooner. But anyway, I wanted to start with something that was simple and minimalist and just dive into the various aspects via the dynamic visibility angle. So I click on a specific button, it will take you to a section. I talk about the section, and then I go back and forth. And when I go back, this call out is appearing because of dynamic visibility, and then we go on, and in the end, I do some thing about AI. So that was my minutes is not enough time, and you know, hopefully this inspires somebody to kind of go apply for binders in the future. Just don't forget about the build that you have to do. Like when I started, I submitted my libraries, and then I really started thinking about how quickly I could do it, and that was the wrong way. That's another wrong way to do it. Just to give you a sense of what the timings were. All of these things in isolation seem simple enough, and they were. And one of the reasons I wanted to keep them simple was to ensure I could do enough stuff. But just uploading data, formatting my fonts and things minutes ago, and I duplicate some sheets and add some calculations, and 4 minutes enough, and I've not created a single mark of any value, which is scary. And it goes on and on, and I'm not going to go through all this stuff, but essentially the time just goes by super fast, and there had to be some time to create some sort of buffer. I had it down to exactly 12 seconds, but I'm not unfortunately, I made mistakes, and there's the stress of the situation. I could have done it, had to be about a minute. I did it in 90 minutes, 39 seconds on the day, which was a huge relief. But yeah, my advice for anybody that's going to do this in the future is just think about the build and focus on that sooner than I did. I'll come to this in a sec, just to talk to you briefly about what actually happened in Vegas. Essentially, my experience and your experience with you come out as well as these a lot of rehearsals. When you get to Vegas, there's a lot of time spent in a room. Will, my series and I got to know each other quite well. Just essentially to help us succeed when we're on stage, presenting in front of 100 people was scary for me, so 8,000 people was really quite daunting. And it's made easier by those rehearsals. I was scared, but I will lie to you, it was a really scary experience in my life, just having 8,000 people listen to me. And I felt a little bit exposed to something else. You know, I illustrated that I had to compromise it. I didn't feel completely at ease with everything that I had to let go of, and there's a lot of really insane good talent living in you. Well, gosh, God help me. But you get through it, and it's worth it. So a lot of rehearsals, a lot of partying, that's what we're going to do. I won't get into too much of that. But in the end, as I say, the upshot is that you achieve something truly amazing. Like I'm really proud of what I've been able to achieve. I hope that it will help me with this notion of imposter syndrome. Like you don't need to have an amazing talent profile or be somebody in the community to be an honest artist, and that really bothered me before I entered. And it shouldn't be something I should worry about or anything that you should worry about if you want to enter. Like the community will embrace you. Come on, man. Who knows who you are? It certainly felt that way when I was there. It's a big challenge. I spent a lot less than I wanted for 6 months of my life, but that doesn't matter because it is just worth it. And as an extension of this, obviously now I'm standing here and talking to you about my experience, which I never thought I would do. My LinkedIn has gone a bit wild, but that's all good stuff. And just the experience, just overall, is something that I will never forget, and I'm just really grateful for. And that's my memories. Thank you very much.
You said you had like 4 weeks or something to prepare your dashboard. How long through the process did it take you to sort of come up with that design? Because you said you worked with a couple of other things before.
The design was just back and forth. I would say I was ready with my design. It took about pretty much the whole time to get to the point where I was happy with just compromising with the things going down a rabbit hole and just exploring, just noodling, just trying to find something that I could really angle towards. And then realising it wasn't going to, because it wasn't going to work out, and shifting it, and then trying to use some of those elements to then leverage back in, because I didn't want to waste all of that good stuff. But it took most of the time to do it like that.
Did you do it again?
No. I mean, I was asked this question the day after. It was a definite no there. It was just exhausted. But with every passing day, you never know. You know, it's just. No.
Have you changed the way you do your day job?
I'm promoted. Thank you. Yes, I would say so. I think one of the biggest things was just around this notion of perfectionism, and like when your work is part of the world, you have every reason to want to be perfect, and I accepted eventually that I wasn't going to be perfect, and that was the biggest scenario. No single pair of phrases. And no one time is getting more right than my work than I was. So it's taking the pressure off, and I feel less inclined to worry too much about small things. I think it's a great outcome, because that just shows up. So that's the big issue. I see a couple of questions there. I have to guess. Famous? I don't know that way, I would say, but it comes with the job. A lot of stories post memories. Some really great things that have come out of it is just random people across the world just messaging me and saying, you did a great job, can you mentor, can you train out? I recently started coaching a lady in America, and I think they're watching just as you are. And a chap who, I don't even know where he is, but I've been speaking to him, and he messaged me recently to say, because of your other job, doing what I want to do. Similarly, he comes from a background, he's technical, and so I kind of spoke to him about my experience and gave some tips as to what to say, and he's got a job. That makes me feel really happy that I can just say what I know from my experience. Then have that benefit to somebody else is really an amazing outcome, regardless of the result. I think that probably should have mentioned, I didn't win, but that's good.
How did you manage your time on stage to ensure you got through each of the sections?
Practice, a lot of practice. I had no time of question. I would have really my time, the tentative time. I think it was an hour. It took me an hour to do my first film, which was took me 40, attempted it 40 times, and it was only the last 3 times that I get it under 20 minutes. And the first time I got it under 20 minutes was the day before I went to the Pretty
think we'll have a break for the summer, and our next event will be in September. So watch this space. If anyone wants to speak at the next event, please let us know, and we can try and accommodate you. But thank you for coming. We have to be out of here by 8:30, so we'll probably start leaving soon. If there's any pizza left, feel free to help yourself, otherwise it's going to go to waste. And then I think what we're going to do is congregate in a pub. I think probably the one we went to before. So there's a pub called, I think it's called the Old Red Lion, which is directly opposite. They have a garden out the back. So if anyone wants to join us after that's in there, that'd be great.
Sarah,
Yeah.
castle, like on the other side.
Oh, not that one. Okay.
No.
What's it called? The castle.
Out of the 35 pubs around
All right, we're going to the castle.
it's just around the corner, there's a place called the castle.
Thanks, David. Thanks, everyone.